I remember the first day I met you. You're just a silly body. You see, from the other end, we're on two opposite lines, queuing for the registration of our name at grade 4. I looked at you. Somehow I saw something in you, just didn't know what it was. We looked at each other, so bold, looked at each other, burning with bravery. You see, we had the lion mentality in both of our hearts. The time that we're stretched, still maintaining that eye contact, described the competition within, described the form of alignment, told us that there is something that needs to be explained. Somehow, as we continued with our businesses at the back of our minds, we always know that we had unfinished business. You have to tell me what it is you saw in me, what it is I saw in you. The registration ended, we parted ways, even though we were yearning to reach to each other. Our lives were not in control. Our mothers dragging us by our hands. We just kept staring each other from a distance. That was it for that day. Time went by. The next day, profundity somehow just drags me closer to you. I just come willingly as if I already know you, yet you're a total stranger like every other stranger. Of course, there is still undeniably that repulsion because we don't know whether it's friendship or hatred. We have to define it first. We have to test it. That's how nice boys' friendships are built upon. They're not built on pretense, not on assumptions. We don't just get along without having discussed it, without having checked it out. Obviously, we had to try and see if there are any inconsistencies and see if there are any differences and come to a solution as to how are they matched. And if not, we're not the type that compromises who we are just for feeding and no, we part ways agreeably, mutually we agree to part ways. So luckily for us, it just happened to take forever for us to figure it out. We kept studying what kinds of people we are, and in the meantime we kept dancing in the skylight. You see, we kept whispering stories that eternity heard about, and the bones started intertwining without our realization. I kept looking at you as somebody I cannot define, a friend or an enemy, just somebody I get along life with, you see. So we happened to drag it far than it was supposed to, because there is danger in something that lacks identity, no matter how beautiful it may be, and that somehow haunted us. There we were fighting for no reason. We didn't even know how it started. But the fight, man, so aggressive. The fight, man, so personal. Those around, they just couldn't even separate us because, man, they were experiencing World War III. It's like, man, the war began at that very time and it intensified as time. You see, as spirit, as greatness descended, it intensified, and now we have to stand solid ground. Somehow we're protecting what we've made. Somehow we're in love yet hating this fog, yet hating this distance, yet hating the fact that we're still not claimed, yet hating the fact that we're still having chosen for each other. So we have to hit each other hard. The one asking the other, why haven't you chosen me by now? What's taking you so long? The one erasing the other's past. The one erasing the other's withholding strings. You see, breaking all previous friendships that are currently roaming in your mind as you are about to enter into this new friendship with me. We just held each other tightly so to make sure that we wring out completely all manner of betrayal that can happen by any unforeseeable mistake to disrupt this bond. This was a moment of confession. One confessing that I am joining forever into this friendship. That was this description of that war. Because honestly, we couldn't even tell the principal what it is we were fighting for. But so hard we fought. It took time. We looked at each other as lovers and haters at the same time. We did not have the reason why we were doing this. Somehow that kind of understanding, that kind of sameness within our own thoughts. You see, when I punch you, when you punch me, it is same, everything is oneness. But why can't unity be peaceful? That is the confusion. At this point, we're still trying to figure out how to make this, how walk nicely. They thought we're ending it, yet we're trying to begin it. Yet we're building it so formidable that whosoever that might come along to enter, it would be very difficult, because the roots, man, they were never planted peacefully. They were planted aggressively. That's the definition of our friendship. We fought, and after we were tired, because like I said, this was not just a war between the physical. It was a war between the atmospheres where loyalty is defined. Hence, it had to take that long. Hence, it had to go beyond the physical. Obviously, if it had only been solved out by the physical, we would have known that we were probably only fighting for probably a stick, for probably that chair, for that position, for probably to just let one pass. Those were easy stuff. Obviously, they just ushered us into the real war, into the real chaos, into the real problem. Even after we had fought, tired, exhausted, we had to sit down. We had to still spend more time staring at each other, looking at this weird yet beautiful creature in front of each other. Look at you for as long as I can. Maintain that very piercing eyesight. We had to study each other's heartbeats. Man, we had to listen to the sound of each other's breaths and see and feel, man, where it's leading. You see, and smile when we feel those tugs, and smile, man, as we brush each other in lens that not anyone sees but us. You see, still wondering what's really happening, what's unfolding here. That is what God has really made. Still trying to form this friendship. We didn't have to side by each other's strengths alone. No, we needed to expose each other. We needed to go as deep as touching each other's weaknesses. We needed to be vulnerable, so exposed, to be one, to be so together, in the sense that it's not a friendship built upon compromise, upon manipulation, upon one depending upon the other, but both depending upon each other. That is what it had to come down to. And after the whole fight, to prove the alignment, God steps in the sense that miraculous things start happening. When intuition crosses the lines of logic, when man, the understanding becomes the prophecy, when man, the belief becomes reality. When I take the first step, somehow simultaneously we took it together. We waited a step again. We studied, what was that? We laughed, that was the agreement right there. That was the shaking of hands right there. That was the mutuality right there. Saying you are one in a million. Saying this is real. That is how authenticity was tested. fake. It was not just by the profession of words. It was not just you persuading me. No, it needed to be so automatic. It needed to be so natural that you cannot perform it, that it can just spring out from within yourself, that it can just boil out from outside your flesh. Man, I looked at you. You looked at me. Somehow, prophecy, knowing that the next thing we're about to do now is surprising as well. Because looking backward from where we are coming, it's only been 2 days, but it looks like a story that has been written for ages and ages by now. You see, what has been accomplished is what can take centuries. And we still wait right there, just lacking the words to put it down into description, just lacking, man, the maturity to really understand it, but knowing that this is great. Belief brewing inside of the heart of a lamb, so fragile, yet capable to carry strings so formidable, yet capable to hold 2 generations together, yet capable to hold the heaviest pen and hold a page so reflective that, man, it blinds even the oldest and tried to write legacy. We then waited. We stepped back because this ain't no game. Silence is the only thing that can understand it. No amount of noise can really come down to have a share in this. We step from a distance. We allow it to go upon its likeness. We allow to be the followers, because who are we to claim understanding in this? Lest we fall into the abyss, lest we fall into illegal territory. So obedient, we wait, a little bit anxious, a little bit willing, and a little bit weary. We stand knowing that eternity is unfolding. You see, wanting to rush in, but knowing that at the same time so much delicacy and carefulness is needed for perfection to be ushered into this. Knowing that this is a one last time opportunity. Somehow we knew that there was no substitutes in this. Somehow we knew that we were the only ones. I don't know where we got that from, but within the very depths of our hearts, in the manner, in the fashion through which we handled it, we were so much grateful. Our hearts heavy, our skin filled with goosebumps, our hands shaky, but still holding firm ground, but still knowing that we cannot let go. Somehow just fighting with the last breath. Who placed these youngsters in such a terrible positions? They were only trying to form friendships. Why should they write poems, write melodies, write rhythms upon what is inevitable for others, upon what normality can just throw and you can just grab without even a thank you? Why for them should it be so expensive to just lock heads and disappear men into games? No, it's kind of like there has to be a common ground. This is holy ground. It's kind of like sandals has to be taken out. For them, they're not the type that can go with sandals. They're the type that have to mind their steps with their bare feet, step onto broken bottles, feel the pain, bleed, but still continue. Still don't understanding what it is they're fighting for. But everyone can see that this is a fight. They don't understand why. They don't understand how. They don't understand for how long. But they hold on. Hey! What is this? What are people, honestly? I'm afraid. What's the collision of souls? Is it the time, y'all? Is it like the tsunami? Is it the collapsing of building? What is it exactly? What does Earth knows about them? What does Earth feels? What kind of weight does Earth carries at the moment where hearts lock in? What kind of smiles does the sky shares What kind of happiness does the stars feel? What's really going on? Nobody can tell. After the quietness, their clock, remember, it's not ticking, it's not making sound, but somehow it's the most clearest. They move into togetherness. They come into the junction where, like an ambulance passing, every car stops because the others cannot tell whether it's Simba or Mufasa. But I'll rather stay in uncertainty than to risk it, because I step in assuming it's Simba, but Mufasa roars. Where will I be? What will become of me? They walk, man, still unpredictable, still ununderstandable by others, difficult to figure out, but given the red carpet, but given a way to move. And it's only after following the footsteps that they can see that this is great. But when you look it from the front, it looks small. But the sound, the rushing wind, is telling you something great is coming. No, I'd rather step out of the way. I'd rather be late. At this time, they've even forgotten what they've come to in the school, whether it's books or the purpose of their meeting. This looks so very special and important to them now. That man, they don't even know where their bags are. What they just know is that he is right in front of me.